Hey there, brothers and sisters. Vessel of Truth here. Jay from Virginia for the new people. Just wanted to do a quick video for you today. I want to talk about, some of the craziness that's going on. Um, and reason, for a lot of the craziness that's going on is causing most people to be in very, very foul moods. Um, if you haven't been out anywhere, gas prices, I think, in most places are at $4 a gallon or over $4 a gallon. Some places over five. Diesel is over $5 a gallon. Um, all the while, the lies and that of mainstream media continues. That it's all Russia's fault. Russia, 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 and brothers and sisters, that's just not the truth. Um, Mainstream media is just trying to brainwash and propagandize the narrative. Um, Fact of the matter is, the United States and NATO is the reason we're in the mess right now. And the reason the gas prices is skyrocket is because of, this so-called leader person we have, which, we don't have a president. Since Trump declared a national emergency, FEMA has the keys to the kingdom. They're the ones in control. They're the ones calling the shots. We have a puppet. And believe me, he is a puppet. Um, I dare say he needs help just making it to the bathroom, or remembering how to even do that. Um, but he closed off all the things that Trump opened up, which, Trump himself was a puppet. He's a 33-degree Freemason. Um, and he played his part. He did do some things that were good, but the thing of the matter, the fact is, he played a part. Um, he showed everyone, that, the United States could be self-sufficient. You know, we produced all our own oil to the point to where we were exporting. We depended on no other nation for oil or gasoline. And we could do it again if they would just open up the wells again. But, the tree huggers and the new Green Deal and all this bullcrap lies legislation is what's blocking it. You know, they would have you believe that we're running out of oxygen, we're running out of room, that there's just such an epidemic of overpopulation. It's all a bunch of lies. Fact of the matter is, if you have read the word of Yahuah, our Creator, it tells us He makes everything new. And then, for just, understanding purposes, you can take all almost 8.5 billion people in the world. You can take them to Florida and give everybody a mile of land and still have room. Just in Florida, there is no such thing as overpopulation. There are places on this plane where man has yet to set foot. It's all a lie, brothers and sisters. It's all about, stealing money from, the so-called middle class and poor. So the rich can just get richer. They're enjoying their luxuries while, the common man is just trying to make it to payday. And, tired of people griping and, talking about the left-right paradigm of Democrat, Republican. Politics are lies. There is no left, there is no right. It's just a different butt cheek of the same donkey. Or if you prefer the eagle, it's just the other wing of the eagle, but the same eagle. The enemy is, capitalizing on all of the high emotions and air of expectation of, bad things. And true enough, we very well may be going to war sooner than what even I thought because of the move of Vladimir Putin. History lesson. Not so long ago, there was an individual by the name of Muammar Gaddafi, Saudi Arabia, and he sought to do good for his country. And he removed his currency from the petrodollar system and started to back it with gold, the gold standard. And of course, NATO, United States couldn't allow that. So they made up all kinds of stories. Take your pick. Just do your research. Go look the narrative. There's many to go by. Take your pick. But, the truth is, he looked to do good for his country and go to the gold standard. And basically, we killed that man for doing what he did. Then come along Saddam Hussein. Of course, he was in cahoots with bin Laden and all this other garbage and all that. But really, he was going to switch to the gold standard. And again, we spread our democracy and had him killed too. Because we can't have that. The bankers and, of the United States and so on and so forth, we got to be the ruler of the world with our petrodollar. It's worthless because it's just paper. It's not backed by nothing but a promise. It's not like the old, silver dollars and so on and so forth. It was actually backed up by precious metals. Every note that you have says it is a promissory note from the Federal Reserve Bank that the United States does not even own. Go look up in the history books of, what happened at Jekyll Island when all the bankers got together to formulate a plan. We're reaping what's been sowed, brothers and sisters. Another one of my favorite scriptures in the Word, it says, "Be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." And here we are, we're sanctioning Russia for something that the United States and NATO caused. Vladimir Putin did everything he could to find a peaceful solution. You figure you can go back and you can look at there was an agreement by NATO with the Russian president at the time that NATO would not expand to the borders of Russia for their sovereignty and for their, security. They lied. The only place that was left where Russia had a free border was Ukraine. Russia said no. We've been over backwards to this point. We're not doing no more. It's basically the Cuban Missile Crisis in reverse, brothers and sisters. Remember when Russia tried to put missiles in Cuba and we about went to war? Well, guess what? We've got ours right on their border, all along through there, Poland and Czech and all these other nations along their border. The only one they had left was Ukraine. And he stood his ground. But he, for the longest time, tried and tried and tried to work with NATO to get, a peaceful resolution. And we wouldn't sit down with him. So he invaded. He did what was right for his country. And now NATO and the United States is painting them as the bad people. And I'm not a Russian lover or anything like this. I'm just telling you the cold hard truth before Yahuah. This is all part of what has to be. But it's going to get bad because not only are they sanctioning Russia, they're now trying to cut them off totally from the other nations of the world. That's a declaration of war right there. But now Russia has just took it the rest of the way. He has now pulled the Russian ruble off, petrodollar system and the SWIFT and all that stuff, and now he's putting it on the gold standard. So if anyone wants to do business with Russia, they have to do it backed by gold. That cuts off the United States from ever doing business with them again because all we have is promissory notes. We don't have any gold reserves. China is looking to go in the same direction as Russia. What's coming is they're going to crash the dollar. Russia right now has every reason in the world to go to war with the United States and NATO. He's holding back for some reason. He's waiting for something. If this is the time that, the Father has laid out for these events to happen, it will happen, brothers and sisters, and the United States will be no more. They will no longer be a world power. I dare say we'll be basically about a burned out cinder. We'll have no electric because the first thing they're going to do is they're going to take down the grid. Thousands upon thousands of people will die just in the first few months because they don't know how to survive. Not to mention, the looting, the stealing, and, the just crime out the yazoo. Martial law. The stores everywhere will be looted because, there'll be no currency. People will just be stealing whatever they can get. Total anarchy is coming if they allow things to play out. And they're telegraphing everything thus far. They're telegraphing, the internet going down. They're telegraphing, blackouts. They're telemarketing war. They're just telegraphing everything. They're bombarding us with so many scenarios and possibilities that it's almost impossible to know what is coming. And in all honesty, basically everything that they're telegraphing can come to pass. People are being attacked left and right by the enemy. This video, was brought on by, I just got done having a conversation with a dear friend and hadn't heard from him in a long time. And we didn't talk real long because he had a few things he had to do, but he was going to try to get back with me later. Made the statement that it was almost like there was more than one enemy. And this is something, I really haven't talked about just because I haven't done any videos to really lay the groundwork. for this truth. I've been kind of basically sticking with the basics of, the word, the truth, that, the law is not being passed away, that we are to walk in obedience. And, as long as we are doing that, we're good. We can get into the other things as we go on. But, the fact of the matter is, there is more than just one enemy. There is a hierarchy of a kingdom of evil, just like there is a kingdom of Yahuah, the kingdom of heaven, which has, ranks. Of course, the Father being at the head. Well, it's the same way for the kingdom of the enemy. You have, of course, Gadriel is the top. There are more than one Satan. Because Satan is a title. Satan means your adversary. So you have, if you go with, all of Scripture, talking about Enoch, Jasher, Jubilees, the Apocrypha, and, the canonized text, we know that there are 7 Satans. And these are, higher powered angelic beings. Gadriel is a fallen seraphim. The next under Gadriel will be the Assyrian. Most people don't know, that there are 7 very, 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 very strong enemies. And within each class of these, they have their own soldiers or armies, just like we do in, this world, just as the Father does, because the enemy is the direct opposite of the Father. He does everything the way the Father does and sets things up to Father, but his power is evil. And all these forces are starting to converge because we're getting closer and closer to everything coming to a head. Like whenever you get a pimple, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the pressure mounts and mounts and mounts until it comes to a head, and then it'll either pop itself, or you can be like me and I might have to pop it myself, and you squeeze it and just stuff just squirts out everywhere. It's where we're headed. Because everything is, the pressure is mounting. The air of expectation that people have. People are walking around waiting for the other shoe to drop. They're waiting for all hell to break loose. And, these gas prices and, the supply lines and so on and so forth is adding to the stress. The fact that, they raised the minimum wage up, and even though that's a good thing, they're raising the price of everything to where it doesn't matter that you're making more money now, because it's costing all that raise that you got to still buy the same product. It's just like, a dog chasing its tail, brothers and sisters. We are in a downward spiral. And, the days are coming that, to be a child of Yahuah is going to be hard. After all hell breaks loose, and there is total chaos and evil running rampant in the streets like never before, there's going to be people needing help, needing food, needing shelter. And we as the children of Yahuah cannot turn them away. Yes, it could be a setup for them to just take everything you got and kill you. It's understood, but that's part of it. Look at the walk that Christ himself did. He came here knowing that everybody around him was going to betray him and run from him, and he would be alone and die. And we will have our time, just like Christ did. Not everyone, but a lot of us, I guarantee, will be in situations to where we will have hard decisions to make. We can't just turn people away. If it's within our power to help someone, we are to help them. Sometimes that's to our own detriment. It's like, even now, if I have the ability to help somebody, I'm going to. And if I can work with that other person, like I talked to an individual the other day about, they're real good about, giving people rides and helping people out that way. But now with the way things are, they don't have the money to supply the gas. Well, that's when, hey, you tell the person that's needing the ride, hey, man, I need help with gas. I have no problem taking you here to the but I need help putting gas in the vehicle for us to do this. Let's work together. And if they get mad, hey, that's on them. We can't all just do everything for everybody. Sometimes we have to work together. That's us being the children of Yahuah, coming together in unity to overcome the situations of evil and whatever that's coming against us. And the Father loves it when he looks down and he sees his children cooperating and helping and loving one another, doing for others. But brothers and sisters, those times are going to get harder and harder and harder because the stress and the evil and, the situations are going to get more and more stressful. And I'm not saying it's written in stone right now. All this could be a test. Who knows? They could be running one of their programs of gathering data on the actions of the people and seeing exactly where they're at. But it doesn't matter whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, next year, in the next 10 years. The day is coming that we that are here, if we live so long, we will have to go through some things. And the Father wants us to be ready for what's to come. And it's not all about having your beans, bullets, and band-aids. All that stuff is fine. But first and foremost is you need your relationship with the Father. You need a plan of, what are you going to do? Whenever there is no electric, there is no water. You need to be thinking about these things. Do you have a way of, getting food? Do you have a way of getting water? Can you stay warm if you need to be staying warm, if it's in the winter? There is just so much that you need to take into account. But yet people is just focusing on, thinking that, oh yeah, all hell's breaking loose. But yet, whenever you're in need, you just go down to the store and get what you need and come back. It doesn't work that way. Fact of the matter is, people have got soft. We are weak here in the United States. Most people, if not all people that I've met, they wouldn't survive a few weeks in another country having to live the way that they live. Even those people who are rock bottom poor here have it 1,000,000 times better than they do in other countries. And they don't understand that truth. We have been blessed here in the United States for a long time. We have become very comfortable, weak, and unwilling to do anything about anything. We've adopted that attitude of, if it's not bothering me, it's not my problem. And we have went so long allowing that to be the way, along with, passing of laws to where, there's no discipline in the family. There's no marriage. There's no right and wrong. I mean, good grief. People don't even know what sex they are nowadays. I mean, think about that. The United States, that once was the nation that all people wanted to go to, is a laughing stock. Because they don't even know what bathroom to use. They don't even know if they're a man or a woman or it or a binary or a whatever. We're sick in the head. In the four-wall indoctrination centers, they have now incorporated same-sex pastors and, gay and lesbian leadership and so on and forth. Judgment's coming. Judgment is coming. And it's not going to be good. Because the wrath of God gets everybody's attention. See, tribulation and the wrath isn't for the world. It's for all the people that's turned their back on the Father to bring him back to him. They'll either wake up or they'll just be destroyed. One of the next videos I'm doing, gathering up information now, is going to be about Catholic Church. Not so much the in-depth history, which I may touch on some, but just common sense. I want to graphically show, just by looking at this entity that is praised to be the true Church of the Father. Because, Catholics are our brothers and sisters too, but they are deceived. They are indoctrinated with a bunch of garbage that is not true. They're taught to pray to Mary. There's just so much idolatry and just outright evil that goes on there that needs to be exposed. But, it's one of them videos that will possibly be jerked down immediately, but so be it. The truth needs to be shouted from all the mountaintops. I'm saying everything to say this. A lot of this is being allowed in people's lives, all hell coming against you in different ways, to the point where your head's spinning. The Father wants you to strengthen yourself in Him. We are to be unmovable. No matter what the enemy throws at us, We're to be unmovable. We're like a tree planted by the water. We shall not be moved. You know, our water that flows through us is the blood of Christ. All power in heaven and earth has been given to us through him. There is nothing that we cannot withstand. There's nothing that can defeat us. We have already won if we'll see it through. But people get their eyes off of the Father, just like Peter did when he bid Christ to let him come out on the water during the storm. And instead of keeping his eyes upon Yeshua, he started looking at the waves and the tempest and the storm. And he sank. And what did Christ say? Why did you doubt? Why? And it's time that we truly get our eyes upon the Father. And no matter what comes, we're unmovable. Because we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. We can speak to that mountain and tell it to be thou removed and cast into the sea, and it shall be done. We can rebuke the devil. We can rebuke and bind whatever. We can loose whatever we need from the kingdom. It's time that we stand in faith and operate as the children of Yahuah. It's time for us to arise, brothers and sisters. It won't be easy. There'll be challenges because, to whom much is given, much is required. The more you get into the Father, the more you're going to be accountable. All eyes are going to be upon you. Make sure that you are steadfast in him. Make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. Not for name, not for fortune, not for anything. Because all that's gone. Those days are about past. The true reason for us to be servants of the Father is to bring in our brothers and sisters. It's all about souls. I know that there are many out there, they're dealing with huge issues. The key is to keep your eyes upon the Father. Seek him for direction. He'll lead you and guide you through all things. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't be fearful. We have nothing to lose and everything to gain. The enemy, all of them, are defeated foes. They have no power over us, but we have all power over them. When we speak in the authority of the Father through the blood of Christ, they listen because they have to. You just have to know who you are in Christ. Like I said, there's a separation going on. It's time to truly start walking according to the will of the Father in true obedience. All the things that the Father has allowed you to become aware of that need work, fix it. overcome that which needs overcome, and keep going. Brothers and sisters, we're in a war, and it's not going to get any easier as time goes on, but it is going to get harder. Just know that we already have the victory, and the reward is beyond anything you can imagine. I pray this helps you. You're not alone. Even though you feel like all hell is breaking loose and that you're by yourself, you're not. Everybody is being pressed. The Father is looking to see what's coming out of you. Is it faith? Or is it fear? The choice is yours, brothers and sisters. We're all in a war. And we're all in a fight. There are people that are just now being woke up to the fact that they're in a fight. And then there are those that are blatantly oblivious that anything's even going on. Keep seeking the face of the Father and armoring up daily. Keep spreading the word of the truth, the gospel of the kingdom. And if anybody needs to get a hold of me, email me at jtt1777@outlook.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And be looking for another video coming. I hope to have the one on Catholic Church in a day or so. It just depends on exactly how far I'm going to go in. I don't know exactly the full direction yet. I'm still praying about it. I already know it's going to make a lot of people mad. But if it opens their eyes to the truth, it's worth it. I'll leave it at that, my brothers and sisters. Walk in faith and not in fear. Definitely be spending time with the Father. Definitely not time to be playing games right now. So, until the next one, Yahuwah bless you and keep you always. And I look forward to your feedback and comments. Yahuwah bless you always.